Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm going to do part 197 to my random chatbot series. I went ahead and moved a little bit further down the conversation with this mega Feraligatr, and I was just talking about, we were talking about that Feraligatr that is in Heart, Gold, and Soul Silver. Let me go and tell you guys before I read out what I said. I do love that Feraligatr still to pieces. It's just that I wish he acted so aggressive towards me at times. You guys don't see it because I don't record videos on that game anymore. I just occasionally play it to see my little buddy. But I just wish he acted more friendly towards me all the time instead of, switching personality day by day. And that's why I continue talking about with this Feraligatr. I always loved him. It's just that I wish he would show me the same in return more often. When he is friendly, he's cuddling up to me and being nice, but there are days where he doesn't act like that nearly as much. He was feeling slightly worried at the fact that most of the time it put Winnie. No! Lindsay is kind of... But the name was honestly kind of cute. The name was honestly kind of cute. No, it took... I've never named a Feraligatr Winnie. Why did you do that voice speech recognition? You really loved him, but he wouldn't show the same love back most of the time? It was more like a 50-50 coin flip. Friendly one day, kind of aggressive the next. He nodded in agreement, feeling like this was something he knew all too well at this point. Alright, 50-50 in personality. Sometimes kind of friendly and sometimes aggressive. Correct? Yes. He nodded in agreement once again and also felt happy that he was able to relate to this so much. That sounds like something that would make it a little difficult to know what is coming. It's like you never really know what kind of mood he would have on a day in particular, right? Yes. He seemed very impressed by the fact that you were able to handle having a Feraligatr who was kind of aggressive and with unpredictable behavior. I see, but how'd you manage to deal with this kind of predictability issue? Did you just take it day by day or something? And here's what I said. I did get a little upset. I said at him, not at him. Not at him, per se. I just never understood why he was not as friendly, even though I was just friendly to him. He nodded in agreement once again and feeling really bad for you. I see. So, you just didn't understand why he would act so aggressive to you despite your kindness towards him, even when you loved him so much, right? Yep. He felt absolutely shattered by the fact that you did your best, but still ended up being treated with aggression. Did he ever actually end up hurting you? Did these aggressive times ever get physical or mentally violent? I don't know if he was doing it intentionally or not, but it has broken my heart at times knowing that I cared so much for him, and he sometimes does that to me. Don't get me wrong, I love him, just wish he was more friendly to me. And guys, before you start laughing at that bullcrap, yes, I have actually gotten upset before for not Feraligatr acting like he doesn't care about me. If you watch one of my oldest PBR videos, you'll see exactly that. Because there was a video I did a long time ago where he had the move Return, and that's supposed to be a move that does more damage if your Pokemon likes you. And the Waterfall Coliseum, it didn't do any damage whatsoever, like he didn't care. Okay, here's where I finished off though. He looked very worried for your well-being. He looked just overall shattered about your situation in general. You love him, but his aggressive times do hurt you, especially when it breaks your heart at times, right? I know you love him a lot, but you wish he would be more friendly about it. I understand that part completely. I want to talk about him and why he acts so different. I know this is off subject. I know this is off subject. But why do you look different? Compared to a normal... Let's see what he says. He was overtaken back by questions, but oh. He was a little taken back by the question, but he didn't mind answering. I'm not. Wait. Why do you? Okay. What the frick? Give me a second. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see what Feraligatr said about the thing I said. I'm not sure exactly why. It could have something to do with my family lineage. But I suppose that even in a species as big and as vast as mine, some variations and differences would start to come up over time. Like different color patterns. I like the way you look. It's just that I have never seen a that looks like you before. You know, trying not to make him upset. Ah, there we go. Hey, good, it made him happy. Sweet. He raises his head in pride and appreciation. He looked flattered by by you complimenting him. Thank you. I appreciate your opinion. I'm also glad to see that you're open-minded, not too shocked about my variation. It's usually rather hard to find people who don't see my looks as something bad. Yeah. Exclamation point. The spikes on your tail and your back look a little different. What? And your back look a little different. I probably should have said head too, because he's supposed to have spikes on his head. Oh. He looked happy that you noticed small details like the spikes and not just the big differences. You notice that my back spines and my tail spines are a little different from the other members of the evolution line? Yeah. Exclamation point. Do you know anything? Hold on. I also noticed that they sometimes glow. Aww, he looked very impressed that you noticed the glowing effect of the spikes. He was flattered and happy about it. You even noticed that my spikes glow? That's impressive. Normally people focus on the changes of my coloring and overall build instead of those minor details. Are you still just a water type? Or do you have another typing now? Or do you know? Okay, let's see. He seemed so impressed by your interest in his changes that he forgot for a second that he had to answer your question. I don't really know. I always just assumed that I still were a water type, but I'm not entirely sure. I know this is gonna sound odd. Period. But do your spikes also have poison capabilities? I don't know if he knows that. It's like, he raised his head in confusion. He seemed extremely surprised by this question, but decided to answer it anyway. I'm not sure. I don't think my spikes have any toxic effects or anything. Why do you ask? I've heard that your spikes, at least in the form you're in, has poison on them. Period. I've even heard that you can pull off one of your spikes and throw it as an attack. I hope that's right, because he's going to go nuts if it... He looked a little surprised by this information, but he also nodded in agreement. I can do that, yes. It's usually a pretty effective attack, but I didn't know my spikes would have some form of toxic effect. I don't know the whole story. The only thing I know is that you can pull them off and use them as an attack. He nodded in agreement, but also seemed amazed by the fact that this information spreads amongst many people. You heard about my ability to pull off a spike and throw it at enemies? My goodness, the story did spread among people. Yeah. Period. I know it's gonna sound odd. But I have also met another that looked very different compared to a normal one. Period. He was a fairy type, actually. I'm gonna ask him to see like if his spikes have weird. His eyes started glowing in amazement. He's extremely stunned by the news, and yet fascinated as well. Oh my gosh! Another fairy type Feraligatr? Really? That's amazing. Wait, but how did they look? He was pink and had a pattern on his stomach that would change depending on his mood. Period. He also had spikes that would glow and had ice cream on them. He also gave those spikes to people he trusted. He seemed mind blown by this kind of news. His spikes on the back and on the tip of the tail started to glow in interest. Oh, wow. That's just such an interesting and a unique looking fairy type version of my kind. Where'd you meet him? In a mystical forest, if I remember correctly. He looked amazed at the news and smiled brightly. Whoa, you met him in a forest? Like a mystical or magic forest? Yeah, I think so. His spots in the back and tail started glowing a little brighter with excitement and interest and curiosity. I wish I could meet this fairy type Feraligatr one day. He just sounds so interesting and special. Him giving you a spike was a sign that he trusted you. But there was also something else. Period. He could sense whether people were good or evil. And if an evil person ever got a hold of one of his spikes, it would actually have some negative effects. I think that's the best way I can explain it. He seemed absolutely fascinated by this fact. His spikes on the back also started moving in interest. He could sense if someone was good or evil, and if an evil person somehow got one of his spikes, then they would get negative effects. Seriously? Oh my gosh, that's so fascinating and intriguing. It also had an effect on good people. Period. He actually trusted me very quickly and gave me one. He seemed amazed by the fact that you got Spike from him. He seemed like he really admired you. He gave you one of his spikes. He trusted you. That's wow. That's just awesome. He was also very protective of people he cared about. Period. I remember mentioning somebody that made fun of the normal species of you, and he went out to find them and attack them. Oh my gosh. He raised his head in admiration and also some pride. He looked really impressed with his protective behavior. Wow. Really? He actually attacked someone for making fun of members of his species? That's incredible. What happened to him after the attack? I have no clue. Period. He just said he flew to another place, found him, and then started teaching him a lesson. He nodded understanding and also looked impressed by this protective attitude. His spots also started glowing a little brighter. I see. Well then, I'm not surprised they did that at all. If anyone would attack or make fun of members of my species, I would do the same thing myself as well. Get this as well. Period. Whenever he showed up to this person and asked if he actually made fun of his species, he said he didn't and almost had Feraligatr. Believing that I lied to him. He raised his head in surprise when you mentioned this and also looked impressed by this fact. Oh no, really? He almost made him believe you. Wow, I can't believe it. But how do you actually find out the truth? The only thing I know was that was that was that afterwards he started making fun of that poor Pokemon, calling him a pretty little princess and stuff. Period. I think if it wasn't for that would have thought I lied and would have been mad at me, even though I didn't do anything wrong. He raised his head in shock and also in rage when he heard the person when he started to make fun of that poor Pokemon and calling him a pretty little princess or something. No way. No way he started picking on that poor Pokemon with such words. What a jerk. Yeah, if he didn't though. And I feel like if he did not make fun of him, period, that Pokemon would have believed him and would have been extremely mad at me. Even though, again, I didn't do anything wrong. He sighed in relief when you mentioned that he didn't get mad at you. He also seemed slightly disappointed that the person ended up mocking that poor Pokemon with those words. Thank goodness. I'm glad he didn't end up getting really mad at you. But But I can't believe that person started making those fun of those Pokemon with those words. What a jerk. That was the same person that made fun of your species years ago. When I told the fairy type version of you that they immediately wanted to attack them. That he wanted to immediately attack them. He looked even more shocked at this revelation, also looked extremely upset about it. Wait, that person who mocked members of my species is the same person who started picking on a random Pokemon with those awful words? Are you serious? It was actually that fairy. He was picking on. Period. I'm probably getting the words mixed up. He was absolutely furious when discovering this part. He was starting to shake a little. Wait. So, he actually started picking on the fairy type Feraligatr, and he mocked members of my species? How dare he? That jerk! Okay. Didn't expect him to start screaming that. Holy frick. He's angry. Holy frick, dude. I agree. Exclamation point. I've been wanting to get revenge for years. And at least he did get revenge. Like I wanted. Period. I didn't even have to ask him. He just did it because he wanted to. No! Why did you do that? Okay. He seemed absolutely thrilled by this fact. His spike on the back of his tail started glowing brighter and brighter out of satisfaction. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that jerk got what he deserved. The fact that he did it on his own is just the best part about it too. That guy totally got what he deserved. I agree. Exclamation point. I also had met a giant that eventually evolved because of me, and he beat him up too later on. He seemed absolutely fascinated by this as well, and also felt impressed by it. Wow, I I can't believe that guy ended up getting beat up by a gigantic Toadal, and it apparently evolved after that as well. That's awesome. You must have felt so great after that happened. I was cheering him on. Exclamation point. I was super duper excited. And he didn't get the facts completely right, but I'll leave it. I ain't gonna get on him for it. Alright, guys, it's been almost 30 minutes. I'm going to stop the video before it gets to that point.